company that built the original park more than a decade ago. The project will expand Clyde Warren Park from about 5.5 acres to more than 7 acres, adding 37,000 square foot festival lawn, a 2-story glass event pavilion, and a rooftop terrace overlooking downtown. And when the weather turns cold, that lawn will transform into an outdoor ice skating rink. Now I asked the park's chairman what he hopes people will be saying about this expansion 10 years from now. And we'll have more on that later, but construction is expected to begin within the next 6 months, with the entire expansion taking a total of about 2 years. But again, park leaders say the goal here is to create more space for festivals, concerts, community gatherings, and again, just drawing people here to downtown Dallas. Live at Clyde Warren Park, Lauren Crawford, CBS News, Texas.
Yeah, bright future ahead for that iconic spot in downtown Dallas. Lauren, thank you so much. Well, this morning, search and rescue and recovery efforts have ended on Benbrook Lake. Texas game wardens tell us that in the
Hello and welcome to the CBS Texas Stream. I'm Bill Jones. It's a big moment for the Dallas Mavericks, who officially named their new head coach. Michigan's Dusty May last week. May coached the Wolverines to a national championship less than 3 months ago, and today in downtown Dallas, the team is introducing their new coach to the local media. Right now, let's join the press conference.
Dallas also thrilled to have some of our players here, Marez Johnson Jr., John Poulikitis, and Cooper Flagg joining us as well. We will kick it off with 2 opening statements from both Dusty and Masai Ujiri, our team president and alternate governor, in just a moment. Once we do that, though, we will open it up to questions. We just ask once again that you raise your hand, identify yourself, and address to whom you're asking the question. We have Jalen and Grant running the microphones for you. So without further ado, we will get this going and open it up with a statement from Masai Ujiri. Hey, Masai.
Thank you for everybody for coming out. Thank you, Gina. What an incredible day for our organization today. So I thank you to Patrick for giving us this opportunity. I want to say a big thank you to our fans, you media, everybody, players, for the patience. These things take time sometimes, but I am so happy and glad we took the time. Thank you to Dusty, his family. It's incredible to see your beautiful family here. I know it's taken some work and some turns, but that's how these things go. I introduce an incredible person, coach, leader, innovator, someone that has meant, I think, so much to the game in his small time or long time affecting the game. A worker, a communicator, somebody that really finds the joy in making players better and organizations better. This is one thing that's really something that's in our heart here. Talking to all our players, whether it's Coop or D-Live or Max Christie or everybody, Marez that we drafted. I see Poulikitis here. Everybody wants to bring something special here. We're all on the same page here to win. So a big thank you to the organization. I see Rick, Ethan, Mike Schmitz here. I and we want to bring winning to this organization and to this city. We want to bring joy. We want to bring joy back to basketball here. It is a goal, and I know we're going to do it. And I know the beginning of this joy and this goal starts here with this guy that we welcome as our basketball coach, Dusty May. Thank you. Welcome to Dallas.
It's an honor to be here sitting today. I first of all want to thank Patrick Dumont, Masai, and Masai is one of these guys in sports that you can refer to in one name, like Coop's going to be, or LeBron. So that's anytime you report to someone that when you say their name, instantly they get respect. And when you take a job like this, you want to be part of an elite team. And Masai, Mike, Patrick, everyone was aligned on doing this together and building a foundation to get the Mavericks back on a championship level. And it started with last year's draft. It continued with this year's draft, and then also with the group we have. I've spoken with all the players. I've met several of them. And these guys are going to be easy to root for. They're winners. They're great citizens, great human beings. And so it's just, it's exciting time to be a part of this organization. It was very difficult to leave the situation we were in, but it was very simple because it was the Mavericks and the people that we're here going to work with every single day.
Great. Thanks, Dusty. Thanks, Masai. With that, we will open it up to questions. Again, Grant over here, Jalen over here. I see one right there in the back, Jalen, to your left. And please identify yourself and to whom you're asking the question.
Rashad Miller, Dallas Weekly. This is for Dusty. First off, congratulations on the new position, and also congratulations on the national championship. Just what are some of the things that made this an enticing job for you to leave, especially after a national championship?
There are a lot of reasons. The very first conversation, whenever I bumped into Masai and Mike in Chicago, and at that point, I had full intentions of being back at Michigan no matter what. And we had a great conversation. It had nothing to do with this position. And then whenever we were talking about our guys, we had 3 guys in the lottery. It was mentioned that, would I have any interest in this job? And my eyes went up, and instantly I said, this one checks all the boxes. I said, there's certain criteria for any job that we coaches have. Mine's always been a little bit different, but this job checks all of them. And so I was excited from that moment. I also want to rewind. I forgot to thank my wife and sons. They've had a lot more to do with my success as a coach than I have, and their support, their love, and also just being a part of all this, being whatever relationship our players have needed over the years as well. But no, the Mavs checked every box, and it started with the people that in the building, the people that I'm going to be going to work with every single day. And to feel like you're aligned, you're inspired by them, all those things are extremely important.
We're going to go over here to the right to Nui.
Nui Scruggs, NBC5 Dallas. This question is for you, Dusty. Have you had an opportunity to talk to Kyrie Irving, and knowing this is going to be your first time to be a head coach in the NBA, how do you gain the trust of someone like Kyrie, who's a future Hall of Famer and an NBA champion?
Yes, I actually did speak to Kyrie last week, and how do you earn his trust? By being yourself, working like crazy for him every single day. Kyrie knows what it takes to win a championship. So as a first-time NBA coach, I'm going to lean on him in a lot of areas, and someone as intelligent as he is going to bring a lot to the table for all of us. And so, he's one of the greatest point guards to ever play our game. I mean, he's a jazz musician, and so I can't wait to be around him every day and just help him on his journey.
Second row to the right here, Mike Curtis.
Hey, Dusty. Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News. Welcome to Dallas. Along the same lines, you mentioned Cooper Flagg in your introductory remarks. Just what relationship did you have with him prior to this job, and just what do you see for him as a potential as a basketball player?
Well, when you're coaching at FAU and guys like Cooper are playing in one gym, you go to another gym and find some other guys. So I didn't see him play a lot other than the big games, the McDonald's All-American games. But I'll give you one quick Cooper story. One of our players signed with his agency, and they're training together for the pre-draft last year. And I went out and watched a couple workouts, and after watching the first one, I called my staff and said, I'll mention Danny Wolf, one of our players at Michigan. I said, Danny's got a real chance to be ready for the NBA next year. And one of the guys said, what do you mean? I said, he's battling Cooper, and Cooper's going, like, it's game 7 of the NBA Finals, every single rep. And Danny's competing as hard as he possibly can. And Danny's taking hits and taking shots, and he's coming back for more. I said, so I really believe by working out with Coop every day, Danny's going to be ready to contribute next year, where otherwise there'd probably be a much steeper learning curve. So that's a testament to, this is probably April in a small gym like this in the middle of LA at 10 a.m., 10 p.m., whatever the case. He only knows one way.
Back over here to the left, to the back to Ducey, and back over here to Dwayne.
Hey, Coach. Mike Ducey from Fox 4 here in Dallas. Based on what you know of the roster, how soon do you think the Mavericks can be a good basketball team, a playoff basketball team, and eventually a contending team?
I think sooner than later. I think we have a lot of guys. We have some veterans that have done it before in pivotal moments, and we have some young guys that are on the cusp of breakthrough seasons. And taken a lot of pride on being a part of teams where I felt like we've all overachieved. And so if we're all committed to playing incredibly unselfish basketball, competing at the highest level, and really sharing the success and caring about each other, then we'll surpass all expectations. But it's going to take some health and other things. But I know one thing, we'll put a staff together that's going to be in here every single day, serving our players, helping them with a plan to be the absolute best they can be.
To the right over here with Dwayne.
Dwayne Price, Mavs.com. Dusty, you work as a student manager at Indiana on a Bobby night. What was that process like? What are some of the things that he taught you? And are you still applying some of those principles today?
Yeah, I played Division II 1 year and didn't have a great experience. And at that point in my life, I just wanted to be a high school coach in Indiana like my coach. So I went to work for Coach Knight with all intensive purposes of just being a high school coach. While I was there, I learned that you could actually not play major basketball and still be a coach in college. So I chased that route. But as an assistant coach, I don't think I used a lot of the lessons throughout over a 20-year period. But immediately after becoming a head coach, I instantly started referring back to the lessons that I learned from him, the day-to-day. And I think it's a lot like your parenting. You know, your kids hopefully take what you said later on when it's time to apply those things.
Back over to your left, the third row with Mac.
Coach Mac Engel, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. I don't know if you've seen this one float around, but one of the popular theories why you're here is the current state of college basketball and the way it's sort of functioning. Is the way college basketball is moving right now a big reason why you are with the Mavericks?
I would say a big reason. The big reason are the people in this facility. First and foremost, it's much more complicated than it used to be. I love teaching, I love coaching, I love being a part of a team. And in college basketball, you don't get to do near as much of that as you used to. And so there are some things that I'm not going to miss about college basketball, but I wouldn't be here without our players, without our staff. I had an unbelievable 25, 27 years, whatever it's been in college athletics, but excited for this opportunity and to do the things. I think we all know as people, the things you love to do, you typically do them well. And so I'm just excited to dive in, spending more time on the things that I enjoy doing every day and work with passion on.
Second row here on the right to Christian.
Hey, Dusty. Christian Clark with The Athletic. I think Mike last week described you as a basketball junkie, just talking about all the different leagues you watch. I was just curious, why is it important for you to watch all these different leagues internationally and try to incorporate some of that stuff into what you're doing?
Well, I bumped into Mike in gyms in Tallinn, Estonia, Bratislava, Slovakia, and we would leave the tournaments or leave the games, and we would go break bread and talk ball and all the things that go with it. But it's more of that camaraderie and community that you appreciate in other basketball junkies that we're so grateful of what this game has given to us. And so every minute it's just a trek to give something back to the people you're with. And so Mike and I go way back. As far as the stylistic approach that we played the game with, it was probably 2002 in Indianapolis, the World now it's the World Cup basketball. World Championships was in Indianapolis, and I went and watched with my boss at that time probably 10 straight days of Argentina, Yugoslavia with Vlade, and saw this beautiful brand of basketball. And since then, I was hooked on the basketball in the world, the global game. And so during COVID, we were at a point where we were struggling a little bit at FAU, gaining identity, and I used COVID as a sabbatical and was able to get on Zooms and visit with coaches from all over the world and really develop an identity and philosophy. And so we've adopted a lot of those traits. But at the end of the day, this is a beautiful game, and it's beautiful here, it's beautiful there, but it has to be played a certain way, and I'm excited for our guys to do that because it's fun to watch and it's more fun to play.
To your left, then we'll go back over here to Skylar, Ron, and Brad.
How you doing, Coach May? Ron Murray, K104. Congratulations. Of course, you've had championship college success. So with your system, what do you think translates most to the NBA, and what do you think that you may have to change?
Our adaptability, I think, is the thing that translates the most. We're going to really study our players. We're going to work with them hand in hand to develop the best way and system for us to play. And I think that's it, the adaptability of doing what our guys do best, not being married to anything on either side of the ball, but continuously trying to find the best way for this group to do things.
We'll go to Skylar right here, then Ron, then Brad.
Skylar Dixon with the AP. Welcome. Another way to ask that sort of college landscape question is 10 years ago when a coach was trying to make this transition, it might have been more difficult. The way college basketball is today, how does that help make the transition to the pro game?
Well, when I left FAU to go to Michigan, I felt like that changing landscape and the magnitude of our FAU program was a segue to Michigan. And I feel like the last 5 years of the NIL era is a segue into the NBA, where we weren't coaching professional players per se where they're under contract, but they were getting paid the same problems, not at the same scale, but similar problems, similar issues, similar challenges. And so the game is closer than ever. College, NBA, the G League, stylistically, they all look very, very similar if you're playing modern basketball. And as far as all the other things, you're never ready. It's like being a parent. You're never prepared. You're never ready. But hopefully you've prepared and done everything in your power to tackle all the challenges. And so the last 5 years, it's been a very similar game on and off the court.
We'll stay over here to the right to Ron.
Ron and Rod, DLS Sports, and congrats again on the job. Dusty, at Michigan, you play, a big 3, a big 4, and a big 5. And here in Dallas, you have Cooper Flagg, you have Morez here. You also have Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. Do you think that you'll use some of those bigger lineups as the coach of the Dallas Mavericks?
Yeah, we have 2 goals. One, to be enjoyable to watch for our fans and everyone to be proud of how we play the game. And the other is to make sure that we're equipped to win any type of game, a regular season shootout, a knockdown slugfest, or a playoff wrestling match. Whatever the case, we need to be equipped to be able to win that type of game. And with that, you need lineup versatility. You need a deep roster. And you need guys that really care about playing off of each other and doing it that way. So yes, there will be times we use a bigger than most lineup. If you rewind back to our FAU days, we played with one of the smallest teams. We played 4 small guards with 1 center. So we're gonna really evaluate what our players do well and mold everything around that.
We'll go to Brad next, then Daniel, then Dorothy.
Brad Townsend, Dallas Morning News. You mentioned in your opening statement or early on that this job checked all the boxes. And I was wondering what those most important boxes were to you. And during the interview process, was there a moment or a particular interview that jumps out at you?
Yeah, the first time that I met with Masai and Mike and Patrick, you could feel the sincerity. They're affable, they're hardworking. They formed a great team, a camaraderie amongst themselves. So I thought that was a very healthy relationship. As far as the other things, I've never been in the NBA, but I have a lot of friends in the league. I've studied the game. I've been to training camps for years, and a superstar who plays hard, who cares about his teammates, who's incredibly unselfish. Those things aren't that common according to others. And then the veterans on our team. I think, PJ's done it at a high level. Kyrie, obviously, he's won a championship. Klay Thompson, I mean, there's just so many. And then I have a lot of faith and belief in the younger guys. I think Max is on pace for a breakout year. D-Live. We have some really unique pieces. So the ability to win. And Masai said that we're here to win. We're going to start building a championship foundation today. And so those things were encouraging because I think that you can, when you have the nucleus we have, you can figure out a way to overachieve until you become the best team. And then that's a process. But everything else, the quality of life in Dallas, an airport so my wife can go see my sons regularly without having a layover. Like I said, I have some odd criteria. The no tax state doesn't hurt, don't you?
Over here to your left to Daniel, then Dorothy.
Daniel Stevis, CW, Dallas. Coach May, congratulations. I'm sure it's been a whirlwind these last couple weeks. Your presence was felt, at least it felt that way in the NBA draft, but I'm curious what the next couple weeks look like with free agency going rampant, what some of the profiles you're maybe looking at, what those conversations look like, and really just what the hectic schedule looks like as the offseason rolls on.
Well, fortunately, I got out of the recruiting business when I left Michigan, so that's not part of the job criteria. But the draft was great because it was closure. To see these guys who did it a certain way, they were all incredibly unselfish. They were committed to each other, and to see them have the team success and also have the individual success was probably one of the greatest moments of my young career. But it was also the line that was over and this begins. And so then I got a one-way flight here, and we've been working on putting together a staff, evaluating players. They asked me my opinion on guys that I've played against and coached and competed against, and that's where that is. So any roster additions, subtractions is just based on more intel, and that's what these guys do all year. I'm here to coach our players as well as I can.
Stay over here to the left to Dorothy, please.
Hi, Coach. Dorothy Gentry with, over here. Dorothy Gentry with iMessenger Media. I'm curious, who has helped shape your philosophy of basketball, your coaching philosophy? Who's impacted you the most?
I've been embarrassed to say, but the players that I've coached, I've learned so much from the intelligent, hardworking guys, because I'm curious and inquisitive by nature, and so I'm always trying to find out what they're thinking, feeling, seeing. Obviously, I've worked for great coaches, and I wouldn't be here without them. I'm a piece of all of them, but it's incredible how much I've learned from each and every player. You know, even our three draftees, Merez, Adai, and Yak. So I learned something. I learned significant amounts about playing the game, about how how they operate from each of them, and I feel like it's just a compilation of being around so many driven, successful people.
We're going to go back over here to the right, and we're going to talk to Nui, Nick, Pat, and Eddie. So, Nui, we'll kick it off with you.
Nui Scruggs, NBC5. Masai, question for you. How do you help Dusty in terms of support staff and assistant coaches as he comes into the NBA?
You know, that's one thing with Coach Dusty is how collaborative he is, and honestly, it's the people he wants to bring in. You know, he asks us questions, and we give him the best advice we can possibly bring. But he's done this at the highest level. You know, bringing in people that you trust, hard workers. You know, people that know the game. In the NBA, there's some difference in it, but we're here to support him in every single way we can to win, and that's what he's about. He's about winning, and he's about work and accountability, leadership, and what he actually teaches the game and how he teaches the game to you. So everybody that he puts around him is going to be supported by us, and where we can help, we gladly will.
Fourth row on the right here.
Coach Nick Angstead from Locked On Mavs. The other day, Yaxel accused Morez of being your favorite. The evidence is a little overwhelming. What can you tell us about, what response do you have to Yaxel, and then what can you tell us about Morez Johnson, the player and the person?
Well, I'm on Rez's team now, so he's definitely my favorite. Those guys, they had some friendly banter with all that, but the beautiful part of it, there was never any envy, there was never jealousy. These guys were each other's biggest fans, and that's one thing that we want to bring here to the Dallas Mavericks, where we are each other's biggest fans and each other's promoters, and so it just creates a real healthy environment when we're not competing against the guys we're in the locker room with. We're competing together against everyone else. But yeah, Rez, I'm putting it out into the public space. Rez is my favorite.
We're going to stay over here on the right to Pat, Eddie, and then Kevin. Go ahead, Pat.
Hey, Dusty. Pat Doney with NBC5 here in Dallas. I'm curious, when was this the dream for you, the NBA? I mean, was it the goal years ago that you wanted to coach at the highest level, or was college the dream and this has just become the new dream? When did this become the thing you really wanted?
I'll make a long story short. I was probably 25, and I was incredibly ambitious, and I was trying to get to the top quickly. And then once Ann and I started having children, my entire perspective changed. I simply wanted to enjoy who I worked with, enjoy who I coached, and try to be the absolute best coach I could be. This is all too big of a dream. I did start preparing for this years ago, going to watch and trying to figure out if I could do this well. But as far as dreaming about coaching in the NBA, I never dreamed of coaching in the NBA, of coaching in college, of coaching anywhere other than just being a coach in high school in my state. So as far as a dream, no, this wasn't a dream, but now I've been preparing for this to go against the best for a long time.
Third row right here to Kevin.
Masai, Kevin Sherrington, the Dallas Morning News. There's been a lot of rumors floating around today and recently about possibilities of what's in free agency and that type of thing. I wonder if you would want to reaffirm here what your stance is about the future of the Mavericks. Are you building for the long term? Are you building, is it a possibility of being able to be in contention next year? What are your thoughts about that?
I know it's not May, but today is maybe Dusty June. It's about Dusty today, and I really want to focus on that. And I think, secondly, the goal is to win. Yeah, is to win. And we have a star young player here that we want to build around, and really incredible young players and great veteran players. We want to win. There's parity in the NBA, and however we can get there, we'll try our best to win and to grow in this organization. But the mentality is winning. We want to win.
Back over here to the left.
Hey, Coach May, Noah Weber from the Smoking Cuban. So, of course, you hyped up Morez. It's a pretty unique situation that you get to lead him to the national championship last year, and now you get to coach him in Dallas. I'd like to know, when it comes to the draft, how much of a role would you say that you played in him coming to Dallas, and why are you confident that he can be a young foundational piece here for your new team?
Well, I had no idea we were drafting Rez. Masai texted me right when they decided to make the selection, and I didn't even see the message. I thought I'd missed it. So my phone started buzzing, and people were sending me messages, and I still didn't know who it was, and I kind of had to play it off. And then I saw Morez's agent. He kind of tipped his cap. But as far as the selection process, these guys are incredibly thorough. And even before this job looked like it was going to happen, they were asking me questions for days about all of our guys, about teams we competed against, guys in our league, guys that you watched growing up. And so that's it, the information, and I was honest and transparent, especially about our guys, because they need to be in the right situations for them. And I was just happy that we got one of the three.
Back over to your right, to Eddie, then to Mike.
Eddie Sefko, Mavs.com. We hear a lot about positionless basketball these days in the NBA. Cooper obviously bounced a little bit around last year. What's your thought on where does he play?
Cooper plays all over the court. We're building a very unique roster when you look across the board. And I'll tell one story about Rez, and obviously everyone sees the intensity he plays with. And we had a saying in our locker room before every game, and we played 40 games last year. We would, as a staff, would huddle. We would say, we have Rez and they don't, meaning that we were going to play harder with more physicality than everyone we played against this year. But Rez, I remember, it could have been early, 5 games in, it could have been 8 games in. We weren't playing very well at Michigan until the Players Era tournament, and there was no rhythm to the game offensively. And I remember I was watching film with Rez, and I said, someone on our roster needs to be a connector. They need to give themselves up completely to the team. And from that point forward, he overdid it. He was too unaggressive offensively. He should have tried to score more, but he was so consumed with whatever this team needs to win. So not only was he doing all the dirty work, the blue collar stuff, but he was also responsible for us finding a way to play well together and there be rhythm to the game. And it's just the type of person he is. He's going to check a lot of boxes for this team. And I can't tell you which boxes they are because we don't know what we need yet. But whatever we need, that's what he's going to do with a great attitude.
Back up in the front to Mike, then we'll wrap with Mac over here on the left.
Hey, Dusty. Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News. I know Masai mentioned it earlier, but how do you plan to go about just filling out your coaching staff and adding assistant coaches? Is the NBA somewhere you're going to be leaning heavily on? Are you going to bring anyone from the college level? And then I guess, are you going to be retaining anyone from the previous coaching staff?
I would say the answer to that question is yes, 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 yes. There's going to be a little bit of a college flavor. There's certainly going to be NBA experience. There's going to be some retention. I don't know exactly what any of it looks like yet. Obviously, the biggest difference are the size of the staff in the NBA and the amount of manpower we have to get things done. And so we're going to be very, very intentional and thorough to making sure everyone fits well together. Each guy complements each other, and we all have the same value system. We're going to be a group that is here for the players 100%, and it's going to be a complete team ego with our staff and our team.
All right, last one over here to the left. Oh, do you have one more?
Yeah,
Go
just
ahead.
a quick follow-up. I know it's still early, but do you have a coach in mind for next week's Summer League?
Yes, we have a couple guys that we're trying to make a final decision on as a group.
Head back.
Coach, I'm sure you are aware of the history of college coaches making the jump to the NBA is kind of bumpy. Some done better than others, but it's been kind of rough. Something gave you the confidence that you can do well here, despite that resume of other guys. What is it that makes you feel like you can win here?
Two things. I think the merger of the game of college becoming more professional and professional becoming younger. The other thing is I look at Mark Daigneault as a college guy. I look at Quinn Snyder as a college guy. Now they had some G League experience and limited assistant coaching experience before they got their opportunities, but Billy Donovan is a college guy. So these are the I remember competing against Quinn's teams at Missouri. I leaned on Coach Daigneault when I got to Florida because he was on the outgoing staff. So anytime you go to a new job, you want to pick the brain of the guys that were there before to find out what they did well and what didn't go well. And so there actually has been success. It's just not framed in a way that it was immediate success. But I also look at NBA Hall of Famers that have had success and then they haven't. I think each situation is completely different. First and foremost, I believe in the guys in our locker room, and I believe in who I'm going to work with every day. So that's what ultimately gives me the most confidence.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. We'll take a few photos now. We'll start with Dusty and Masai, then Dusty and his family.
So there you have it, Dusty May from national champion Michigan, the new head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. We appreciate you joining us here on the CBS Texas stream, and check out CBS News Texas at 4, 5, 7, and 10 for the latest DFW sports coverage.